Hello, tech friends, and thank you for tuning in to Emerging Technologies in Business, where we take a deep dive into different technologies that are impacting businesses today and in the very near future. I'm your host, Brock Riney, and this podcast is brought to you by Kincannon XR. Let's talk tech. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Emerging Technologies in Business. Today, we're going to be talking about what is blockchain. Blockchain is a system of recording information in such a way that makes it extremely difficult to impossible to change, hack, or cheat the system. A blockchain is essentially a digital ledger of transactions that's monitored and distributed across a network of computer systems making up a blockchain. This network of computers literally does nothing other than perform small functions and gives you an idea of how many transactions are being completed. The Ethereum blockchain uses 112 terawatt hours, which is comparable to all of the Netherlands in consumption on a yearly basis. So, each block in the chain contains a number of transactions. And every time a new transaction occurs on the blockchain, a record of that transaction is added to everyone's transaction list. This database is managed by multiple participants and is known as DLT, or Distributed Ledger Technology. Blockchain is a type of DLT where transactions are recorded with a cryptographic signature called a hash. What this means to us is that if one block in the chain is changed or manipulated, it would be apparent immediately that it's been tampered with, and this throws a wrench in the way that hackers utilize or attack technology now, because if they wanted to corrupt a blockchain system, they would have to change every block in the chain across all of the distributed versions of that specific chain. And the two big blockchains, Bitcoin and Ethereum, are continually growing as blocks continue to be added to the chain, which adds more and more security to the ledger the more that there are. So, how is this different from our normal banking system now? Well, let's say I wanted to buy a hat from a vendor and they charge me $15 for the hat, and I rarely ever carry cash on me anymore these days, so I get out my debit/bank card and I swipe it or insert the chip into the vendor's kiosk terminal to pay. When I swipe my card, a message gets sent to my bank which tells them, hey, Brock has an account with our bank, and he wants to drop $15 on this hat. And that money needs to go from Brock's account to the vendor's account. Kind of what banks do all day, every day, in documenting every transaction that comes from their customers and sends out the money to the other banks. Then they tally up all the money at the end of the day. So their role is to say, based on all of your transactions, you have this amount of money left in your account. So, let's say I have $50 left in my account, and I swipe my card to buy the hat for $15, and my bank will look at all of my transactions and determine if there's enough funds in the account to cover that specific transaction. And if so, they will approve that transaction. And the same for the vendor's bank. They'll realize that $15 has been added to the vendor's bank account as well. So, that's what our modern banking system does now. They keep track of every transaction that's been sent for processing every single day, and we trust that the banking system is going to do this correctly. But we've all heard the story of people mysteriously having money show up in their account or even disappear from their accounts in the news. But banks and other middlemen have been keeping this running smoothly for hundreds of years now. But with the rise of the internet, there's been talks about how we could improve this system to coordinate the same type of transactions of money between two parties, but without utilizing a bank. And that's really where the clever idea of the concept of blockchain comes in. With blockchain fulfilling the role that the banks do now, but instead it's taking private transactions on an account, talking to vendors, and then all the transactions now are recorded publicly on the internet for everyone to see. So, in a crypto world, let's say the hat costs 2 Bitcoin, which I know is way off, but for the ease of understanding, just want to throw that out there. So I go to swipe my bank card to say I want to pay you 2 Bitcoin for that hat to the vendor. Instead of the bank seeing that and trying to validate the transaction, it goes to a public record where computers around the world keep track of every single transaction and everyone now going forward. So if I don't have enough Bitcoin to purchase that hat, all of the computers around the world would notice that there's a discrepancy between the number of coins that I own and what I'm trying to spend, and the transaction would then be rejected. But if I do have enough coins, the computers looking at the public record will recognize that I have that many coins in my account, and then they would approve the transaction easily and safely, moving 2 coins from my account to the hat vendors. And that transaction then gets written into the public record for everyone to see. And the main point being that the collective group verifies the legitimacy of each transaction rather than the independent bank, making errors far less likely to occur. So that gives you a general idea about blockchain. That's really it for today. I hope you enjoyed our episode and enjoyed learning a little bit more about blockchain. I want to thank our sponsor, Kincannon XR, for sponsoring our podcast. You can find them on social media at Kincannon XR, or you can find our podcast on socials as well at ETIB Podcast. And if you like this content, leave us a like or a comment, and most of all, please subscribe. I've been your host, Brock Riney, and we're going to talk some more emerging tech next time.